Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about Johnny Gosch. Hey guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Johnny Gosch. Alright, so John David Gosch was born November 12th, 1969. On Sunday, September 5th, 1982, in the suburb of West Des Moines, Johnny left home before dawn to begin his paper route. Although it was customary for Johnny to awaken his father to help with the paper route, the boy took only the family's miniature dachshund, Gretchen, with him that morning. Such a cool name for a dachshund, Gretchen. Other paper carriers for the Des Moines Register would later report having seen Gosch at the paper drop, picking up his newspapers. It was the last sighting of Gosch that can be corroborated by multiple witnesses. A neighbor named Mike reported that he observed Gosch talking to a stocky man in a blue two-tone Ford Fairmont with Nebraska plates. Mike did not know what they were discussing because he saw everything from his bedroom window. As Johnny Gosch headed home, Mike noticed another man following him. Another witness, John Rossi, saw a man in a blue car talking to Gosch and thought something was strange. He looked at the license plate but could not recall the plate number. He said, quote, "I keep hoping I'll wake up in the middle of the night and see that number on the license plate as distinctly as night and day, but that hasn't happened," close quote. Rossi underwent hypnosis and told police some of the numbers and that the plate was from Warren County, Iowa. John and Noreen Gosch, Johnny's parents, began receiving phone calls from customers along their son's paper route complaining that he hadn't delivered their paper. John performed a customary search of the neighborhood around 6 a.m. He immediately found Johnny's wagon full of newspapers 2 blocks from their home. The Gosches immediately contacted the Des Moines Police Department and reported Johnny's disappearance. Noreen, in her public statements and her book, Why Johnny Can't Come Home, has been critical of what she perceives as a slow reaction time from authorities and of the policy at the time that Gosch could not be classified as a missing person until 72 hours had passed. Really? Hopefully they've changed that. By her estimation, the police did not arrive to take her report for a full 45 minutes. Initially, the police came to believe that Gosch was a runaway, but later changed their statement and suggested that Gosch was kidnapped, but they were unable to establish a viable motive. They turned up little evidence and arrested no suspects in connection with the case. A few months after his September 1982 disappearance, Noreen Gosch had said her son was spotted in Oklahoma when a boy yelled to a woman for help as he was being dragged away by 2 men. Over the years, several private investigators have assisted the Gosches with the search for their son. Among them were John Rothstein, a retired New York City police detective, and Ted Gunderson, a retired chief of the Los Angeles FBI branch. Okay, you guys. In 1984, Gosch's photograph appeared alongside that of Juanita Rafaela Estevez on milk cartons across America. They were the second and third abducted children to have their plights publicized in this way. The first was Eaton Patz. On August 12, 1984, Eugene Martin, another Des Moines area paperboy, disappeared under similar circumstances. He disappeared while delivering newspapers on the south side of Des Moines. Authorities were unable to prove a connection between the two cases, yet Noreen Gosch claims that she was personally informed of the abduction a few months in advance by a private investigator who was searching for her son. Wow. She was told the kidnapping, quote, would take place the second weekend in August of 1984, close quote, and that it would be a paperboy from the south side of Des Moines. On March 29, 1986, the day before Easter, 13-year-old Mark James Warren Allen told his mother he planned to walk to a friend's house down the street but never arrived at the neighbor's and hasn't been seen since. Guess where he lived? Des Moines. According to Noreen Gosch's account, she was awakened around 2:30 a.m. one morning in March of 1997 by a knock at her apartment door. Waiting outside was Johnny Gosch, now 27, accompanied by an unidentified man. Gosch said she immediately recognized her son, who opened his shirt to reveal a birthmark on his chest. We talked about an hour and a half. He was with another man, but I have no idea who that person was. Wow, the plot thickens, you guys. Johnny would look over to the other person for approval before he spoke. So years later, there were pictures on Mrs. Gosch's doorstep who she thought was Johnny. An anonymous letter was sent to the police stating that it was all just a hoax. So sad, you guys. How can you do that to a woman that's son is missing? Like, what the heck is wrong with people? Jeez. Ugh. Okay, so I was able to connect with Johnny. He came through. He looked exactly 12, 13 years old. You know, he looked like a little guy. He talked about his family, friends. You know, I tried to calm him down a little bit. He was a little apprehensive, didn't really want to talk to me. Okay, so he went on to tell me that the 2 other boys that disappeared were abducted by the same guy that abducted him. The man who abducted him, Johnny said his name was Rick. It's a pretty basic generic name. There are a lot of Richards running around out there. He said that he was taken to Rick's supposed home and that Rick had told him that they were in Mullen, Nebraska. So, I don't know. He said when he was taken, he was like immediately out of it, and he woke up when he was in this house. And that's when he met the guy Rick, and said that Rick said they were in Mullen, Nebraska. I don't know. He said the house was out in the middle of nowhere. He said there were TV cameras in certain rooms that he would be taken to, and there was mattresses, blankets, and pillows. Okay. So he was being abused by 2 men. I'm not going to go into too much detail. He was very detailed and specific, and I'm not going to talk about that here. His family doesn't need to hear that. He said he remembers during the abuse that he would get really drowsy, and then he would not remember anything, and then all of a sudden he would come to in that same room where he was always at. He said he was locked up there. The windows wouldn't open. He couldn't open the door. He had tried everything. So he said over the course of a few months, he didn't know how long it was because he was having a hard time keeping track of days because he was, you know, out of it a lot, which I'm guessing he was drugged or something. He said 4 other boys were brought in, and he said he was so grateful because he had someone to talk to. I mean, how sad is that? Like, it broke my heart when he said that. He was like, you know, as horrible as it was, at least we were able to talk to each other and lean on each other, you know, emotionally. So he said through time, he learned that if he cooperated and did everything, then it would get done faster. And then he wouldn't have to, you know, deal with it. But also, then he knew if he was cooperative that they would put him in the car, because at times they were taken to this other house. He said he didn't know distance because he was blindfolded and all that in the car. But he said, you know, he could hear birds, and he could hear, you know, he said he remembers hearing lawnmowers and, yeah, but he said he was in the car for, he didn't know if it was maybe 20 minutes or something. He was taken to this other place, which he said was kind of dilapidated. There were blankets, pillows on the floor, and he would be abused there, with cameras on him, of course. Excuse me. So he said he doesn't remember when he was killed. What he does remember is the guy Rick and this other guy, they were in the room about to record him being abused. And the other guy said to Rick, I think it's about time. We need to just get this over with. And he said he was abused, and then he doesn't remember anything else until he came to, and he's where he is now. I asked him if he saw any of the other boys where he is now, and he said yes, that he's seen them. And he just said, you know, his heart just aches so much for his mom. And he had heard, you know, a story where someone had came to her and said that they were him. And he was like, that just really upset me. So yeah, you know, so sad. And I mean, realistically, you know, this was way back, quite a few years ago. So you imagine, you know, today, how many more kids are going through this? You know what I mean? Okay, you guys, be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy. And I hope you guys are having a great week. That about does it for me. Bye, guys.